face you. Well, I'm telling you, I'm not going away, and I will face you. And tell them to look at this on the lobbyist. Everybody go to the website, www.opensecret.org. I implore you guys to all go and look at the disgusting thing that's going on.
Ray Franco and then Russell Haynes. Andrea?
I'm not much for public speaking. My name is Andrea Gomko. I would like to enter this for the public record.
Want to explain what it is? Or?
It's a people's citation for the police brutality that happened on Sunday and Monday against the Occupy Riverside movement.
We can't hear back here.
We can't hear you. Get closer to the mic.
You gotta get
Is
closer.
this good?
Yes, it's good.
Okay. All I have to say is that America is about freedom, and what happened on Sunday and Monday is not what America is about, and I'm ashamed of what happened. And I think that you guys have the power to change this, and I know that you can. And I think that you have it in your hearts to do so, and I would greatly appreciate it if you would. Thank you.
Russell Haynes and then Evan Samuel Heimlich.
Good afternoon. I would like to preface by saying what I witnessed on Sunday was absolutely disgraceful and utterly disgusting. I would also like this entered on the record. It is a citation from Occupy Riverside for four offenses, which are as follows: resisting and impeding the duties of peaceful protesters and restoring democracy to the people. Assault on peaceful protesters attempting to assault on peaceful protesters exercising their First Amendment right to assembly. Theft of food and cooking supplies belonging to the People's Kitchen, who have been feeding the hungry for 3 weeks. Trespassing on public lands reclaimed by the people from the hands of the 1%. I would like that officially entered into the record. Thank you.
Can you give it to the city clerk? Thank you. Evan Samuel Heimlich and then Brian Joseph.
Good afternoon. I can't say that I don't recognize this city, but I can say I don't recognize this nation. I lived for 12 years abroad, 12 years, and returned to the United States to find it a place I barely recognize. 2 days ago, the City Council of Riverside sent an armed attack on peaceful, unarmed protesters assembled in the public square. We protesters had made our nonviolent intentions crystal clear to the authorities and to everyone. We're there to commit civil disobedience. Now, aside from the stand that we take to occupy public space for the public, we strive to comply with the moral and legal order here. Indeed, we strive to exceed the standard that's set by the current government. And the main way we do so is by feeding the people at what we call the People's Kitchen. 3 meals a day, every day we serve. And we draw inspiration in a big way from the prime organizers of the People's Kitchen, Annie Edwards and Danny Newhouse. In the Occupy movement, we say, we're not here to get anything, we're here to give everything. Our approach calls for peaceful generosity. And the People's Kitchen, the people who organize it, embody this spirit. Therefore, we of Occupy Riverside decided together that we would hold the line at the People's Kitchen when the authorities came to raid us. When we broke our tents and stole our tarps, we did not hold any line, even though this theft endangered on this rainy November the health and well-being of infirm people among us. And I'm not just talking about 2 or 3 people either. We need food and shelter to live, non-violently. Even in this matter of life and death, we tried to block you from destroying only the people's food and its shelter. The whole world was watching via video. Your officers threw men and women to the ground with excessive force. It was entirely unnecessary. They faced no physical danger whatsoever at any time, yet did nothing at all to protect the arrestees from injury, even as the officers themselves caused a melee. They singled out Danny Newhouse for brutality, the most peaceful individual, the most loving and generous individual among us. They left people alone on either side of her. They injured her while handcuffing her, then left her face down on the cobblestones while large policemen stomped and stumbled over her. I tried to save her and was blocked by policemen. She lifted her head and shouted she was injured. Officers brutalized several other people who were already handcuffed. Afterwards, city authorities immediately began lying about a bottle that a protester threw. Authorities claimed that brutal violence was justified because a protester threw a bottle at police. I am the protester who threw that bottle. I had my arms linked with people, and I became dry-mouthed like I am right now. And I ran out of water, and I didn't want to leave the line, so I tossed my water bottle to my fellow protester, who was not anywhere near any police officers. And when he filled it up with water, he threw it back to me. And your lie to say that the water bottle was thrown is seen by the entire world. This video was shot from long range away. There's 15 different copies of video. There is no projectile. There was no instigation. There was no warning. There was no reference. Thank you.
Ryan Judson and then Mark Lombardo.
I would like to begin by reading the injuries I sustained while being restrained by 8 police officers, although I was in no way resisting. Strain of neck, wrist pain, abrasion to the forehead, strain of lumbar region, strain of shoulder. Yesterday, we formed on Sunday, we formed a human chain around the People's Kitchen, where we feed the hungry. The police officers targeted the weakest individuals to break the chain, throwing them to the floor, striking them. When I saw this happen, I immediately laid on top of the tent and the resources of ours that they confiscated eventually, and I did so with the intention of committing an act of civil disobedience. As I was brutally restrained by 8 police officers, I was charged with resisting, delaying, and obstructing a peace officer. Nothing about their action was peaceful. Nothing about their action was peaceful. I would like to direct this comment to the city attorney, who seems to be paying a lot of attention right now. I will be filing a complaint, and I hope you're ready for it. Everyone in the world is watching us right now. We're all over the news. Everyone's seen the video. The force was excessive, it was brutal, and it all started over the fact that the city council will not recognize our tents as free speech, as political speech. The tents are symbolic of the mortgage crisis and the loans with exploding interest rates that were given to homeowners who are now on the streets. And in this context, I believe, and my fellow occupiers believe, that those tents should be protected political speech, and they are currently being abridged by a stupid zoning law, by a stupid ordinance. And I would like to ask you to please stand with us, as the city council has done in Irvine, in recognizing these tents as political speech. Thank you.
Mark Lombardo and then David Lowe.
Hello, I have been a resident of Ward 2, and now I'm spending more and more of my time about a block from here at Occupy Riverside. And I cannot tell you how proud I am to be a part of Occupy Riverside. It has been one of the most meaningful things in my life, and I want to make something absolutely clear to all of you here today. And that is that we are not going anywhere.
Did you hear that?
You may not like that fact, but the reality of the matter is that whether you like it or not, you have to deal with us. So we might as well get to know each other and figure out a way to make it work for all of us here. Let me talk to you about why this is so important that we find some way to work this out. This is important because everything that you guys do here and the way that we are treated by this city, this is giving a name to Riverside. Not just the country, not just all over the country, but all over the world. This story has been picked up in Europe, it's been picked up in Russia. People know Riverside now. But I am very sorry to say that what people know about Riverside is they know the police brutality that occurred on Sunday. That's the image of Riverside that's now being portrayed around the world. So the way that you treat us determines what this town means, okay? You need to think. Go back in history, okay? Think about the meaning that the police actions had in determining what it meant to be a person in Mississippi, all right? To be a citizen of Mississippi in 1963. Is that, when people look back on history, do you want to be on that side of history? That's what you need to ask yourselves. Thank you.
David Lowe and then Rebecca Ledford.
Hello, my name is David Lowe. I've actually been occupying outside of your guys' office since the 23rd of last month. I showed up a week after the occupation started. I didn't even know it was here. But I'm just a perfect example of the people that will be coming. It's just the beginning. It's not going away. There are people that are honking their horns right now, driving by, waving at us, praying for us, hoping that something will change, something good will come out of this. And what they don't realize is that they're only a paycheck away. In my last job, the business went under. That was just a few weeks ago. I haven't even bothered really looking very hard for another one because they're not worth having. $10 an hour is just not enough to live off of. We're building a community. There's a strong sense of community here, and we are getting to know each other. And we are aware, I think a lot of us are aware, that we just don't have representation here. The fact that you guys are using a city ordinance to stifle our First Amendment rights, freedom of speech, to assemble, to express ourselves by having our tents up. Because let's face it, if we don't have our tents up, it really just looks like a crowd of people hanging out in the plaza. But with our tents up, we're getting the crowd. And I don't see myself going anywhere anytime soon. There's just nothing else to do. I mean, this is the most important thing to me in my life. And no matter how much you guys arrest me or beat me, it's not going to solve the problems. And you need to realize that. You need to realize that cooler heads will prevail. And there's nothing like sitting down and having a really long meditation in a nice park, like the one you guys provided with us today.
$10 million worth.
Rebecca Ludwig and then Joe Martinez.
Good afternoon, Mr. Ludwig.